Alright guys, this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while. Gas cans, petrol cans, fuel cans, whatever you want to call them, they come in a lot of different shapes and sizes these days, and I'm sure, as most of you know, some of them suck, some of them are stupid, and some of them are better than others. Let's talk about which ones I actually find myself using the most and which ones I like for specific projects. The old steel can here is a good example of what my dad has kicking around his shops. It's a solid metal can with a vent and a spout. That's all you get. Sometimes you get a little plastic nipple on there, but otherwise you get this. And these are great. They're robust, but they're heavy and they are a bit messy, though I would rather have this than some of these strange new gizmos they have on. Moving on. These type of plastic cans have become ubiquitous. You've all seen these styles. These ones here are particularly nicely for putting fuel in vehicles, especially if you include a funnel, because it has the handle. I wish every gas can that's meant for pouring fuel into a larger machine would have a grip right here. A few of them do, almost none of them have what I would want, but they sometimes include little safety nozzles with these. I mostly just ditch them. This is an example of a safety nozzle that I don't hate. It's not great, but I don't hate it. Why we want to push so many buttons? Safety button up and then pull this back, and it's kind of awkward to do, but it is manageable, and it does keep you from spilling that all over, and if you're traveling, it gives you one of those. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. All right, let's keep this rolling before I get bored and quit doing it. But this can here, smaller size of the one we just looked at, same type of thing. This one sits on the back of my buggy. Like I said, I don't hate this. It works fine, but I don't love it. This is the one that I use most often. I find myself picking up most often when I'm in the woods running a chainsaw. You have to compare this with oil, and typically I just bring a jug with me like that. These two, if I'm cutting all day, it's pretty much what I'm gonna want. This is just really easy to pour. You just tip it over, push one button, nice. I see a lot of loggers carrying these around here on the East Coast for good reason. They're a nice, convenient can. They come in an increment that will take 2.5 gallons that will take your mix. Great can. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything about this. This is my go-to most of the time with the oil. But there are some options that combine those. Let's take a look at those. I got a couple of examples of dual cans where you can have your fuel and mix and your bar oil attached. This one's from Husky. I do like this. It's counterintuitive that you have to turn this thing upside down and press on the saw, but it does work and you don't lose any fuel normally. The oil spout on it is terrible. It takes forever to fill it up. It's so slow. You do get a little bit of a place to put files. The one issue, I pointed this out before, it does fit a 7/32 file, but it will not fit your raker file unless you add cardboard or something to it. Exactly what will happen if you just put that in there. When you go to turn this upside down in the woods, you're gonna lose that. So make sure you remedy that in some way. The other option is the old jerry cans. I like these. I run this just like this. I just take the cap off and pour the oil in, no spout. I tend to spill a little bit of gas, but it is what it is, right? We're not trying to save the world here. We're trying to cut down trees, and this will allow you to do that. I like this better than Gordy's version. Gordy from West Coast Saw, I like a lot of his products. I think he makes cool stuff. This was a mistake. You don't want as much oil as you want fuel. First of all, the oil here, which is a problem. This is easy to get confused in the woods unless you put a spout on one. It does come with one, hang on. This is what Gordy will send you, and I'm sure it's not because he wanted this, it's because when he ordered this from the usual scumbags, they send this, right? I don't actually mean that. We should be thankful for the Chinese for making all of our cheap shit that we want because we refuse to do it here in America. But that's another rant. We should be doing that here in America. The welding leaves something to be desired on this one. Take a look at that. They missed the gap on the cap weld. That's just poor quality. I mean, come on. You're going to put a product out like that? That's terrible. The other thing that I don't like about this can, besides them being the same, is that it's heavy. And it's heavier when you have more oil in it. So I like this idea. It did come with these stupid stops for that cap. I ground those off and I was scared to death I was gonna light my shop on fire when I did it. But those just nick your thumbs up, right? You gotta take this off and you crack your thumb off of this thing. Get rid of that. In fact, I would say unless he fixes this, don't bother buying this. Hold on a second, I was a little too hard on that. So I like Gordy a lot. I like his products. I like his YouTube channel. And he also sells these things from Grizzly Peak, which are kind of neat. And I saw a logger that I follow, East Coast guy, felling, what is play on Goodfellas. He has a great channel, and he went ahead like Gordy and made a leather kit for this to hold his first aid and then strap these on the side. I like that idea. I keep intending to do that at some point. I just never get around to it because I'm always picking up this guy and just going. But I want to do that because I don't like necessarily, I like to have one wedge in my back pocket and then other wedges nearby. I like to work light. So this is what I'm going to do sometimes. So it's a little too hard on Gordy there. Like his stuff, buy his stuff. Just fix this, man, please. Sometimes if I'm just going to cut firewood, I'll often just grab this bucket here. I'll fill up my saws with oil and fuel at the shop, and then I just take a fuel bottle and a Gatorade bottle full of oil, and that's pretty much all I need to go get some firewood with the filling up at the shop. All right, last but not least, the VP Racing Can. You guys have seen these before, usually with bikes, guys that are into dirt biking of some kind. These are really nice 5-gallon cans. They have a nice pour spout on it. They work, they don't leak. They even give you the thing I've been complaining about. It could be a little better, but they at least have one. And this is what I use to fill up my side-by-side. And if I had to fill up vehicles, I would want a bunch of these because you can just stick this spout right down in your gas can. You don't need a funnel, and you're off and moving. Sure, I don't have to say this, but yellow for diesel, blue for kerosene or water, so be careful of that, and red for straight gasoline. Now, if you're gonna mix it, you probably want to indicate that somehow so you don't end up with oil in something that shouldn't have oil. Diesel, gasoline.